I just saw Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, the first movie in Marvel's Phase 5. And we've got to talk about it. Were the critics right? Is this a Rotten Tomato? Or are there actually a lot of redeeming qualities here? We're going to get into all of that. But no, they weren't wrong.
Hey, yo, what the f?
So I want to start by saying that this is one of those instances where a movie or a show really bothered me, and I've been through this enough times on YouTube and doing this for as long as I have, where I know that when something that we all go watch that's, you know, Marvel, Star Wars related, if it's something that I really don't like, I can get really toxic about it and sort of just get so focused on like what I didn't like about it. And I do want to sort of just put out there right away that, you know, for instance, I saw this movie with Elisa. She actually liked the movie. She didn't think it was like incredible, but she liked it way more than I did. And I'm sure there are many of you that really enjoyed Quantumania. There are some actual good things in this movie. I'm going to start by talking about those, but man, oh man, oh man, did I not like this movie. Okay. So if you're one of those people that like really gets upset when somebody's talking down on something that you really liked and you really like Quantumania, maybe just watch the first part of this video. Also, too, I just want to put this out there. I am going to be doing a live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. That's Friday morning, 11 a.m. over on our streaming channel. We're going to go deep on this, and I'm really curious as to what you guys all thought about the movie. So come on by live. I'm very interested in what you have to say. As far as what's good about this movie, it's really only one thing to me, and that's Kang. It's Jonathan Majors' performance as Kang, and as soon as he comes actually into the film, not talking about the thing at the very beginning of the film, but after he actually reveals himself in the quantum realm, it's almost like a completely different movie for like 20 to 30 minutes, and it's really intriguing. He is an incredibly interesting villain, and the performance had all this nuance, and it was really, really fantastic. So I'm hyped that we have a caliber actor as Jonathan Majors portraying such a unique villain in Kang the Conqueror, and I'm hoping that we're going to see more of him. Oh, by the way, I probably will put spoilers into the title, but yeah, we're going full on spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it spoiled, this is your warning. Get on out of here. Because of course, there's a problem with how good Kang is in the film, and that is that he is defeated and seemingly destroyed at the end of the movie. It's really difficult to set up your super awesome big bad of the next phase leading all the way to Secret Wars, and then in the first real introduction for that character, you kill him. But as I said in a video that I did last week when we heard about the actual ending after the world premiere, I think the ending that's depicted in the movie is kind of a lie. That this Kang the Conqueror is not killed. He is not destroyed, and is instead sucked into that quantum engine, that quantum nexus thing, whatever it is that was fueling his multiversal ship. And I believe this is going to take him and put him into the beyond. We've heard a lot of rumors that this variant of Kang is going to become the Beyonder and get all this crazy power and really threaten the multiverse. I am really excited for that. I'm excited to see more of Jonathan Majors in this role. He was awesome. And as a sort of like adjacent point to Kang and how good Jonathan Majors was, a lot of the sort of exposition and the teasing out of multiversal stuff. Of course, these two post-credit scenes are really cool, and they tease what's happening with Kang and the different variants within the multiverse, but even some of the discussion about the multiverse in general, the dynasty of Kangs, all of these really interesting concepts are wrapped up in some exposition in this film that, for me as a Marvel fan, I ate up like candy. I absolutely loved it and thought it was a brilliant way to tease out things that are going to be happening when we get to Secret Wars. But unfortunately, guys, that's where my praise for this movie ends. Now, there was a lot of discussion going into this movie as to how bad it really was, right? There was a lot of hype, like I want to say like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but as we got closer and you started hearing more buzz about it, the first reactions I thought were really incredibly mixed, and some people that I talked to behind the scenes really did not like the film. And then we had the world premiere and the official revealed, you know, the second freaking Rotten Tomato in the history of Marvel. 31 films, only 2 rotten in their entire catalog. And it just so happens that this movie, which is supposed to kick off Phase 5, got that rotten score. And so I think myself, like many of you, are probably like at this place going into the movie where you're like, is it really that bad? Like, what are we in for? How are we going to experience this? What's the deal? And I just got to say, for me personally, for my exact personal taste, I really disliked this movie. I pretty much actively hated this movie as I was watching it. In fact, almost about 10 minutes into the movie, I just wanted to fast forward to the Kang scenes. I wanted to watch the post-credit scenes, which I already knew what they were, and I wanted to just move on with my life. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I am not trying to be a hater, but I think this movie fails on like some fundamental movie level things, like even having a structure that ties a story together. It doesn't have that. I think visually this movie looks absolutely horrible. There's some cool CGI in here, but it literally just looks super fake. It's so ridiculous, the volume shots and like just feeling like these characters are on sound stages. And like, as an example, there's a moment later on in the film where Cassie and her dad hug and they're giant, and you have no sense of that scope whatsoever. In fact, if they didn't say they were giant while they were hugging and then add in some weird sound effects and have them talk a little bit slower, you'd have no idea, because there's no scale in the quantum realm. Maybe by intention. I think horrible design choice either way, because it doesn't allow you to grasp the scope of that scene, or really anything. Like the very beginning of the movie where Janet's sitting there and then there's background and then there's the ship coming across. I have no idea how close that ship was. I have no sense of scale or anything in there. It was all gloobly glob CGI disaster. And I know. I'm doing that thing. I'm going too negative on it. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to hate. I'm sure some of you disagree, but just let me get this out. I don't know what the deal is with the acting in this movie, but there are moments when Jonathan Majors and even Michelle Pfeiffer are absolutely incredible, but I don't know what happened with the rest of the cast. My theory, actually, unfortunately, is that Catherine Newton is so bad that the rest of the cast had to sort of act down at her level. And I know, like, I'm sorry, like, that's just honestly how I felt about it. I felt like her performance was horrible. And even Paul Rudd in the scenes with her, like, damn, dude, like, Paul Rudd's a good actor. Like, we've seen him be great in moments with these other characters and all kinds of other examples of movies. For him to not shine and to come across really cringy and hollow in the performance was shocking to me. And I think this is one of the things that bothered me so much, was this is supposed to be a movie about family, and yet the family dynamic, it just feels so orchestrated, inorganic, like paint by numbers. We have issues, but there's no like actual love or connection that I felt. It felt completely stale. And basically from Jump Street, I felt like we're missing important pieces to sort of move on with the story. And yet the story was like, nah, we're good, boom, and just zooms on past it. MODOK is the stuff of nightmares, disturbing in a way that I don't really know how to articulate. Like, not quite body horror, but maybe close. And I couldn't believe how much of MODOK there was in this movie. Every time he popped his mask off, I literally like wanted to look away. I was like, dude, what is going on here? The movie is so poorly paced that it simultaneously feels like 5 hours and 20 minutes. It feels like nothing happens. You're just at the end of the movie. The army's there. Everybody's ready to go. And yet at the same time, it feels like it's been going on for an agonizing long period of time. Maybe intentional. Maybe they were trying to give you a little taste of what it's like to be in the quantum realm. Well, guess what? I don't fucking like it. And I know this one's going to be a little film schooly and everybody's going to be like, Josh, we don't care about stuff like that. But I just got to say, the editing in this movie was atrocious. I have not seen this bad of editing in a movie since the first Suicide Squad over at DC. There were a couple cuts that stood out to me. Like, there's a scene where Kang takes Janet by the hand and goes through a portal, and it literally cuts to a scene where he's on his time chair and she's being brought in front of him by guards. And I know there's supposed to be a time gap there, but guess what? You just got to edit something else in between it or do something to create that time gap. It was absolutely atrocious. There's another one that pointed out to me, or that stuck out to me, when Hank Pym is just landing the plane. There's like this random cut to Hank Pym landing the shuttle. It looks horrible, and they don't even show the full cut before cutting back to Scott And again, I am sure there are people out there that don't agree with how I see this movie. But again, I just got to tell you my real honest take, and it's that this movie fails at pretty much everything a movie is supposed to do. It left me so incredibly frustrated, and I personally cannot believe this is the first movie in Phase 5. This is the first movie setting up Kang. And let's talk about those post-credit scenes, because the second one is actually better, which I can't believe, because they did the Council of Kangs and somehow made me less excited about Kang moving forward. Those costumes looked horrible. I have no idea why they're all freaking out and yelling and going crazy in the Coliseum. I'm confused. I'm shocked. I'm gonna leave my thoughts there for now. We'll talk more about this in the stream tomorrow. Definitely want to know what you think about Quantumania, so let me know in the comment section below. And if you want to watch more, why not check out this video we just did about a ton of things that Feige recently talked about, because he knew we'd all be super frustrated about Quantumania.